In this episode, I'll first explain why Adam Smith says that money is valuable, and second, how we can use that understanding to increase our own salary and wealth today. In Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith explains that money is valuable because it allows us to purchase the labor of others. Put simply, money buys us the time, effort, and skill of other people. Smith writes that the value of any commodity or money to the person who possesses it and who means not to use or consume it himself, but to exchange it for other commodities, is equal to the quantity of labor which it enables him to purchase or command. Labor, therefore, is the real measure of the exchangeable value of all commodities. In other words, behind every good or service is human labor. For example, a fancy mansion costs a lot of money because of the many laborers needed to design and build it. A car is expensive because it needs to pay for the labor of the people who engineer, assemble, and deliver it. What money really does is buy us the labor of others. When money is seen this way, it puts wealth into perspective. Money cannot make us happier on its own. It can only compel other people to work for us, either directly or indirectly. This is why it is said that money is power. It can give us control over the actions of others. It also highlights something else. Since money is used to purchase labor, then the more valuable our own labor becomes, the more money we will earn. So the question becomes, how can we increase the value of our labor? Smith says there are 5 factors that determine its value. These 5 are how difficult the skill is to learn, how agreeable or disagreeable the work is, how regular or irregular the employment is, how risky the job or business is, and how much trust and responsibility the role requires. As for the first, Smith writes, the wages of labor vary with the easiness and cheapness, or the difficulty and expense of learning the business. In other words, the harder it is to learn a skill required for a certain job, the rarer it is to find people who can do it, which means the supply of labor for that job is constrained, and the people who can do it are consequently paid a higher wage. Second, work that is unpleasant or physically demanding must pay a higher wage to compensate for its hardship. Smith points out that the wages of labor vary with the ease or hardship, the cleanliness or dirtiness, the honorableness or dishonorableness of the employment. For example, think about a plumber or an offshore drillship worker where the work is unpleasant, less people are willing to do it, and therefore the people who are willing to do it are paid higher. Third, when employment is irregular or uncertain, wages rise to make up for the risk of downtime. Fourth, jobs or businesses that involve significant risk of injury, failure, or financial loss must offer higher expected returns to make up for the risk involved with those industries. Fifth and lastly, some jobs require a high degree of trust, and because society depends on the integrity of those employees, the wages rise. Applying these factors to modern jobs explains why their salaries differ. A surgeon's work is highly trained, high trust, and high stakes, so wages are high. An offshore oil worker's job is risky, irregular, and often disagreeable, so wages are high relative to the difficulty of the skill itself. A minimum wage job, by contrast, is easy to learn, low risk, regular, and requires little trust, so wages are low. In practical terms, then, if we want a reliable way to make a lot of money, the key is to find a profession that ranks highly in any one of these 5 factors, or in several of them, which often simply means we must be willing to develop a skill or perform a job that the majority of people are not able or willing to do. The takeaway is that money is valuable because it purchases labor, both ours and the labor of others. And if we want to earn more, Smith says the path is not luck or speculation, but increasing the value of our own labor. The more rare, trusted, and useful our skills become, the more our employers or society will be willing to pay for them. Thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in learning more about how these classical economic and philosophical ideas still apply to modern life today, then subscribe to follow along, and I hope to see you in the next episode.